All right, hi everyone. Welcome to September. Hopefully we're in December. It's been a busy week. All right. Don't need to take roll call because we're here and not on Zoom, so that's good. Let's start the meeting by let's do a quick vote on the meeting minutes distributed in the packet, and we'll get a chance to review those. Any questions, concerns? I hear a motion to approve. Thank you.
Second.
Carolyn, thank you. I'll just go around Leo.
What's that a second? Oh.
Welcome to the meeting, Leo.
Yeah, thanks.
We're approving the meeting minutes from
Yes.
last August 7th, 2024.
Yes, that's good. Just want to make sure it's yes. Yes. Barbara Wood, yes.
Brown Casey, yes.
John Messina, yes.
Bob Meany, yes.
Tony Calvin-Thomas, yes.
Meredith Chamberlain, abstained. Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Mike Weber, yes. Okay, great. Let's start with our town moderator. We'll switch around the agenda a little bit because Mike's here and he doesn't necessarily need to hang out for a couple of hours. But Mike, thanks for coming in tonight.
Happy to be here. Where would you like to
Wherever, yeah. Why don't you come sit up here?
Sounds
Please. Mike, it's really nice to put together. Did everyone get a chance to read in the packet the questions and answers that Carolyn, did you type in with these questions and then do the responses? How did that work?
Well, we were doing the handout with questions from the survey and from the forums that we wanted to put in something to hand out at Medfield Day, and a lot of the comments were about why can't we Zoom at town meeting, why can't I vote online at town meeting, why can't I bring my kid? So I emailed Mike to say, here's what I'm trying to answer, am I saying the right thing? And he was very gracious and offered to actually do a longer, more thorough handout, even with the links for people, and then offered to even come and talk to all of us. So if anybody approaches you and asks you, that's sort of a first-hand account.
Perfect.
Because this was a big thing. A lot of people mentioned it in the forums and in the comments.
Yeah, just a real quick, brief background. First year as town moderator. First time meeting was last May, right?
Well, first assumes that there's going to be a second.
Well, it's
Hi, Christine.
Just
So-
stressing me out. It's only September, but okay.
Couple things. So, just from my point of view, Mike's been involved in the town. For every town meeting I've been to, you've always come up and spoke and been, opinionated, good, right, wrong, or different, whatever, which I always appreciate. But also, you ran, in my opinion, an excellent, not that Scott did a bad job, but a very streamlined town meeting last year, and I think it was appreciated from all the members who came. So maybe we can just get into some of the questions that Carolyn was being asked, and then maybe sum up like what you wrote down, and so explain to us why does it have to be in person? What are we doing about childcare? Why there was an issue last time? Why can't it be on Zoom? Why is it not a ballot question? That type of stuff, just so we all hear it firsthand.
No, thanks, Mike and Carolyn. Thank you for bringing all these to my attention, and SBC, great job. I really appreciate the job you guys are doing for the town. I was actually, you were nice to say that I was gracious to do this. I think you were gracious to allow me all of the space to just put down all of the thoughts I've had in my head on this for years. These are questions that come up a lot. They've come up since before I was a moderator. My predecessor, Scott, did a phenomenal job, and I think one of the best things that he did, and there were many, is that education about the town meeting process was important for him, and making sure that everyone that wanted to participate in town meeting could was also important. And those are two things that are very important to me as well. The idea of, why do I have to be in person? why can't this be done online or, you know, on a rolling basis? Those are questions I've heard. I've lived here just over 9 years now, and, you know, have heard those, I feel like, since the day after I moved in. You know, it's a long answer, but it's really a short answer. And the short answer is it's state law. I mean, there are 3 types of government that a town can have, and ours is open meeting, open town meeting, and that's in the charter. And you have to show up in person, and it has to end with everything having been voted on. And if it doesn't, then, you know, there are mechanisms to continue town meeting. We've had to do that before, but there are no mechanisms to have debate and then show up the next day and cast a vote, or, you know, cast a vote on Zoom. You know, there were some questions, Karen sent me, of people saying, well, you know, other towns do it. And that is correct, that other towns have made use of Zoom or hybrid town meeting, but those towns are representative town meeting. There is no open, and, you know, I am almost positive this is correct, and I'm sure the town administrator will correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's no town that has open town meeting that has done a Zoom or hybrid option, because you can't. It's just not allowed. Now, all that being said, the second thing I said that was really important to Scott and is important to me as well is to make sure that everyone that is eligible to vote in town meeting and that wants to attend. I think that's, especially the fact that, you know, year over year, you know, attendance fluctuates, and there are some years we have very low, almost not making quorum, you know, and actually not making
You didn't
quorum.
make it a couple years ago.
Yeah. So we want people to come. If childcare is an issue, let me know, and let me know in advance of town meeting, and we'll figure out ways. I mean, you know, a couple of years ago with special town meeting, there were, you know, I think the school committee sponsored some childcare off-site, or maybe it was in the high school somewhere. And also, I mean, there was outdoor voting, and there were children there. I know because mine were there. So there are ways we can do this, and there are ways we can work together to make sure that everyone can attend who wants to attend.
Yeah, so short answer, has to be in person in order for town meeting, right? And then not just state law. And then as far as accommodations for, you know, a lot of 2-parent households, you know, one would stay behind, you know, this was some of the stuff that we heard in a lot of it, like, I couldn't come, my husband went, vice versa, whatever.
What's the school of thought on weekend option? And I know that goes back and forth because of commitments and other things, but is the weeknight thing school nights and you know, work and after work, you know, to go to the meeting?
So
That's still like
our town meeting is the first Monday of May, and that's in bylaw and charter. Kristen, which one?
It's actually, it's referenced in both.
In both. Okay. So the special town meeting is different, but annual town meeting has to be the first Monday.
So as far as a special town meeting, because presumably we eventually get to a vote, right? For a school, with or without MSBA, whatever it may be, we'll figure that out as time goes. Do you have the flexibility to pick any night of the week for a special town meeting, or is there something in the bylaws that says?
So there is, and I am going to pump this to Christine after I say the following, which is my memory is for special town meeting, there was a lot of discussion as far as what day, and when weekend were discussed, there was also religious observance issues with having it on Saturday or Sunday, but ultimately, we didn't have it on Saturday, wasn't it?
I think we weren't allowed to have it on Sunday though, right? No, you can't have it on Sunday. The
Can't have
board
it on
decided to have it on Saturday.
Okay, I see.
And we received equal criticism when we had it on Saturday and equal criticism when we had it on Sunday, so.
Right, okay.
Have we ever just sent a survey to like literally ask people, like ask town members, like if there was gonna be a special town meeting, which day of the week, like Carolyn, the subcommittee for communications is done, cause I'm just wondering.
Usually when we have a special town meeting, it's for a specific purpose and we don't have a lot of lead time up to it. So it's usually based on the moderator's schedule and the select board schedule, and for the warrant committee when that date is picked. But I don't see why you couldn't have a survey. It's not gonna make everybody happy.
No, but at
I
least
guarantee
like
you
we
we
could
get
have
50
something to
based on the
go,
criticism
yeah,
we got.
yeah.
I mean, and also, let me know what days work best. I mean, encourage people to email or call me. I'm always happy to talk about anything town meeting, but dates certainly. I suspect that if a survey was sent out, you'd get the same people that respond to every survey, and I'm not sure you'd get any closer to a definitive answer.
It'd be like 15%.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
for people who don't understand, can you just explain the difference between our town meeting and a representative town meeting?
Absolutely. So our town meeting is believe it or not, is the most chosen form of government in Massachusetts. Is open town meeting. I think amongst and I may have, I do. 32 towns have adopted representative town meeting. I knew it was around 30. So representative town meeting is at the ballot. I don't know if it's every year or every 3 years or towns can choose, but you vote for town meeting members, just like you vote for select board members. Towns do it differently, but you would have a certain percentage of voters. Instead of voters, you would have town meeting members. So, say, for the sake of argument, Medfield moved to representative town meeting and had 30 representatives, 30 town meeting members. So you would, for a certain neighborhood, you would vote for your town meeting member, and that person would effectively be your proxy and vote at town meeting just like we all go and vote. And you hope that your town meeting member would take your thoughts into consideration, but ultimately the town meeting member can vote however the town meeting member wants to. So may not be exactly the way you would have voted had you showed up in open town.
And Christina, Mike, could you also help us speak, or anybody listening, to why when we're voting on something to this calendar, it is a two-part process of in-person and a ballot, right? Because when we go forward, we'll be looking at, when we get to that point, we'll be looking at a special town meeting and then also a ballot vote, correct?
So the ballot vote is for the funding.
Okay.
So you're asking for the override for the amount of the funding. That's the question you're actually being asked at town meeting, if you're willing to appropriate the money for that and allow the town to borrow the money. Then the ballot question is borrowed.
Okay. So that's what makes it the two-part.
We don't keep that kind of money on hand. Be nice.
In the charter or the bylaw, is there a specific time during the day when the meeting is required to be held? In other words, it says first Monday of the month. Does that have to be an evening meeting?
I don't
And
think
then
so.
only for an annual and it's I believe it's 7.
And then the second part of my question is, for a special meeting, is there a time prescribed to it, or could it be, again, does it have to be?
Well, I was wrong on your first question. So.
Okay.
Date and time for the special is up to the board of selectmen. That's 7. Select board is 7.
So it could be any, okay.
So if it's in a charter,
Only on the annual.
we could change the time. You have, the open meeting law itself is state, right? That's the state level, how to run the meeting, correct? But in the charter, we picked Monday, and we picked time. So you could, by changing how the
You would
charter
never
vote
have the
goes.
school vote at an annual town meeting.
Right, but I just was trying to say you could, change the start time if you wanted to change the Medfield charter.
Yes, you
Or
can
the
change it.
evening.
Like in 2020, it used to be the last Monday in April.
Right.
And then we asked town meeting, I believe it was 2018, we asked to change it to the first Monday in May because we kept coinciding with April vacation. Yeah. So because that's what's considered a minor charter change, we needed the town meeting vote, and then it has to go to the ballot, and it has to be approved at the ballot to change the date of the town.
Okay, so to change the charter, you gotta go through those two steps.
Yeah, so it's a good 2 to 2.5 year process.
Okay.
I only ask that because I don't think it's necessarily the day of the week or the day of the month that is excluding certain groups of people. I think that it's sometimes the time of the day, right?
Yeah.
So, especially those with young children.
They prefer at 7 a.m.
Well, I mean, I think I don't know. I don't speak for all families, but I think like some families would probably prefer during the school day, right? As odd as that sounds, and I think that's like I'm not proposing that's a good idea. I'm just saying like I think that like 7 o'clock is such a I don't know. It's such a limiting time for some people, but any time's a limiting time for some. So.
Right, and again, I mean, the important thing I really want to get across here, and my illustrious predecessor walked in, Scott McDermott, and I want to say again, it was so important to Scott, and important to me as well, that everyone that wants to show up and vote get to. So, as Scott always said, to reach out to him with any issues leading up to town meeting, please do the same to me. Call, email, whatever it takes to get as many people that want to show up as possible. We're going to do what we can to make that happen.
I think just to refresh everybody's memory, when we had the special town meeting in school last time, it was Sunday, November 7th at noon.
Appreciate it. The location is 78 Columbia Drive for an investigation.
That's my house. Right. What else for Mike?
Really just making sure everybody in the committee is comfortable, because I'm expecting that these questions will come back at Medfield Day, and as we go on the process, I just want to make sure we're all getting really clear information. And there might be a time where, go for a vote, it's a special town meeting, not the annual, and then, we want to try to sort of figure out what is the best timing to get a lot of people there, and the babysitting, and if people can sit outside and see the meeting and have their kids outside, that might help. There's many things we can do.
That was a great option. It worked out swimmingly, but the weather was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can rely on that every time.
Sure. And it was babysitting, right, at the high school? Right?
There was.
Babysitting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, just to put that meeting in context, it was a $60,000 special town meeting.
Yes. Just in case there was a question about that, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's usually less than 10,000, if not less than 6,000. So,
really?
$65,000 town meeting.
Wow.
Because we brought in so much, we brought in all the outdoor screens, we brought in, so we had multiple rooms.
Tents, maybe
It was-
equipment.
Yeah,
It was jammed.
we had the Patriots game on. We did a little bit.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Anything coming up, let me know. I'm happy to come to other meetings. If the booth at Medfield Day, happy to stop by and answer questions too, if that's helpful or something like that.
Yeah, fantastic. So those responses that you wrote will be part
It's
of.
going to be one of our 2 handouts. We're just going to print it just like you wrote it, and we'll have it right there at our table.
So doesn't matter, but if you ever, you wrote it to send it, but if there's anything else you want to speak or add, please send it. We haven't printed anything else. Okay, great. You know what I mean? Like, so we're happy to use your words, not ours. Sounds good. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
All right, another quick one here is tours of Dale Street. So we talked about having tours. I think at the last meeting was a suggestion, which I think is a great idea. Steve and Jeff both responded back to my email request, and it was basically like, as long as we don't have something going on that evening, if we can make it work, or whatever it may be. So, do we want to set up a couple of dates with Steve now, so it's in the packet for Medfield Day? Is how I understood it to be the case.
Yeah, we thought that at the booth, we would have a little, like either a poster or a handout that says you want a tour, so people can walk away with a piece of paper that reminds them of the tour or tour dates. We want one or more. We had talked about doing it before one of our meetings. That came up at the August meeting. I don't know if people are still in favor of that. Whatever day or day. And I don't know how many we need. We didn't have too many people mention a tour, but we had a few people on the phone.
So we had 4 dates that we picked. We thought we wanted to share with you tonight to see if it worked. Steve and I talked about whether or not we would have it after school. We thought it might be a good idea to have maybe 1 or 2 during the school day, so folks could see it while school's in session and how it works. So we had October 7th, 8th, 15th, and 16th as potential dates if the committee thought that was a good idea to fit their schedules.
What time of the day? Which ones are evening and day?
We thought the 7th and 8th would be after school, and then the 15th and 16th we could do during the day and after school if that was needed as well.
It's super generous for your time. Yes. I mean, what do you guys think of? Should we pick one of each? No, if we need 4. Just do the. I'm thinking like one of each might be probably best.
That would be my guess based on what we did based on the comments, because we didn't have that many requests for tours.
I feel like
we're
too.
publicizing it at that thing.
Yeah, and I mean,
drum up more interest.
we could see how many people we even get to those tours, and then if it's so overwhelming that we needed to offer more, we could add dates sometime in the future.
What's the optimal count for the number of people you want to show up? Like, especially during the day, I'm glad you're doing it during the day, but also I don't want it to be like, 30 people, like what? Because we could even have a preliminary sign up.
There's 20 people on that day. 20 people. Each take 10. We could do that. I think our preference would be the 8th of October if we're going to perform that week.
Yeah.
Sometimes Monday is difficult, I think the families just kind of get back to some things, but the 8th would work for us.
What about the? What's your preference on the 15th or 16th?
16th better.
Okay. Should we book those in then? 10-8. After school hours would be what time works best for you.
We were thinking, we were talking maybe 4:30, but I don't know how
Okay.
people felt about that.
Yeah.
Because that way it might be, kids can get home from school, but also if they have stuff going on that night, they can be out there at a certain time. But
I think we want to accommodate your schedule too. So
we'll just stay to help out, so.
thank you. Does that work for everyone? 4:30 on the 8th, and then the 16th. How about that? School starts at what, 8:30 or 8?
Yeah.
Or 8:30.
I would say 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Because I think 1 o'clock would be the best time, because that's when the wind walks are going on. So like when people are walking through that, you see music in the hall and in the vestibule and in closets, I think that gives you a real. You can talk about it, but until you see it, that's different. So.
Do we want to have like a sign up after that? Like people can, register so we know what the interest is, because if we start filling up, then maybe we could have those other 2 dates in the background, so we can quickly.
I think that's great. That's fine.
Right, you want me?
Yeah, I just don't want to have too many people and overwhelm us. I can make one of them too, and but just to help if you needed it.
Yeah, no problem. I'll make a sign up sheet for both. It'll be right there. We'll make a little sign about.
Can we get it on the website by chance? Just to maybe that, even if you just exit it.
Could I get it on? I can't get it on the town one. Can I get it signed up on the?
Or maybe email you.
We can do a Google form. Yeah, just do it. Or we'll link the Google form. Okay. Yeah.
I think the Handwritten one was great, don't get me wrong. And even if you just like block out 10 spots so that you can maybe get sign up on that day. That's all.
Yeah, I think Brittany can do this from the hospital. It sounds really easy.
Oh boy.
Exactly what she wants right now.
We won't burn you.
All right, so we'll do a link, a Google form link that people click, they sign up and they put their name in, and we'll only make 20 spots.
Great.
And then if it gets to 20, we'll
And if it's like,
call.
and if it's like one, maybe we reach out to that person and say, hey, like, you're the only person who signed up, so can we just give you another tour at a time that's like really convenient for, you know what I mean?
All right, so it's the 8th and the 16th.
There you go.
So we just need it.
All right, perfect. Let's do Medfield Day since we started that topic. September 28th. We have booth, I believe it's number 80 or 80.
Yes, same booth as last year, right? Sort of across from 21 North and the salon there. Right at the church. Yeah, back in the church.
I saw the Google Doc, Carolyn. How are we doing on that?
So, Bob and I, like last year, will be there for the day and looking for people to come and help and talk and we might wander off. So if you look at that sheet that I shared with everybody, all of you, you're all editors, so you just write your name and I put 2-hour slots. And then the big thing is the materials.
I have those pictures still. I meant to bring them tonight actually to give to our kid.
You do. Okay, so I'm going to
Why don't we just communicate? I'll get you.
how about if,
Let's bring them by your house.
yeah, just drop them off at my house, would be great. So that's the posters we had last time. So, we need a table and I can't remember.
I have the tent too.
We had a table from 10 o'clock.
From Central Office, wasn't that where it was?
Sure.
Can we do that again?
Absolutely.
So what I'll do is I'll bring the tent as well because it did rain last year.
Yeah, we needed that.
And I'm away. I'll bring them to you before I go. I leave on the 25th or 26th.
So that's the canopy or the top,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 12 by 12, 10 by 10.
Yeah.
Same one we had last year.
Yeah, we're fine. And we had that, remember the candy last year? It was kind of a big hit, the kids liked it, and at the family stocking. Want to do candy again? And, yeah.
Do you want to just get that? I'm sure we can eat it expensive.
Yeah.
Or anybody else want to bring candy that they have lying around?
Have they,
So that's not after
have a
Halloween.
snow cone machine? All you need is ice. You just take ice.
What did you say?
That's fantastic.
I haven't served. I don't love snow. I have a snow cone machine.
Electricity?
You need. Oh, you do need. Okay.
Is this what you do every summer?
Yeah.
Sidewalk and just snow cones or again?
It was like not a big thing for me. I do like it.
It's okay.
I benefit from.
It's
We all
fine.
benefit from it.
I would like to have one of those.
So
If we could get electricity, I would be happy to
this
bring
is
it
the
and
man
operate
in
it.
charge of Medfield Bay electricity.
Okay, I will bring it.
We're up there. What, we need a table for it? Like,
Nope.
No.
It's just
Standalone.
it's a thing. It's a.
So should we do that and not the candy then?
Yeah.
You do the candies. I'm just happy to bring this.
And presumably any of us could operate this without a whole lot of education, right?
It's easy to operate.
Okay.
That would a lot of training.
Alright, so Robert, are you coming that day?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll bring that. So Mike, drop it off. Okay,
So just
how many bags of ice? You think they need? I mean, I don't know how this works.
Like, 5, 6 bags of ice.
We can always just
Always
bring it right to the store.
There's a store right
Like
there.
a
That has
place.
ice.
Go right to the store and grab
Yeah,
it.
that must be the store has ice.
Yeah, okay.
Permit.
Hundreds of bags of just-
Yeah, right.
Fair question.
Oh, do you need a permit for that? Okay.
Who do we go to for that?
I can work with the board.
Town administrator?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be food certified.
We'll do candy.
I meant the enemy is me, sorry.
Such a
almost
good
got
idea.
arrested for doing boiled hot dogs
Yeah,
for a youth
yeah,
basketball thing 20 years ago.
So I can't bring my smoker? Is that what you're saying?
That'd be right out.
Sorry.
Alright,
You can still keep me on now.
taking the snow on it. Alright, so candy for kids. So does anybody want to get the candy for kids? I'm actually going to give away several weeks. I'll be there for Medfield.
Or you can trust me if you can. Oh, yeah.
Bob's getting the candy.
Any
Thank
requests?
you.
Not that any of us are gonna eat bags of it, but if you got any
I think
requests,
some of us might have eaten.
bring 'em in.
And then the handouts, what did we have for quantity last year, 300?
Yeah, I still have one.
yeah, did we go as high as like we do 2 or 2.5?
We did like 175, 200.
Yeah, I think we,
I think it was 300 and magnets or whatever.
yeah.
Don't we have magnets left over
I
too?
still have the magnets, so I'm gonna bring the magnets and, I get all the trays and all that stuff that we used last year, so. But why don't we do 200
Of each,
of each, that, yeah, we have Mike and,
and then we'll bring those perhaps to the tours or wherever else as well,
yeah.
in case people want them there.
Okay, so that's all the items that I thought of, if anyone thought of another item, just throw it right in there.
So in conjunction with Medfield Day, so the school committee is gonna be at all of the school open houses. And so we were talking at our last school committee meeting about having information available for the school committee members to talk about, the SBC and the projects and things like that. So I reached out to Mike and Meredith, we thought the FAQ looked perfect, like exactly what we're gonna be handing out at Medfield Day. We can also have to hand out at all the open houses. And then if there was like a surplus of magnets or things like that, I don't know if we wanna save them all for Medfield Day or we wanna have some for parents to be able to grab at open houses, but I feel like that's something else we can think about in regards to like just making sure we're getting information out there that.
When are your open houses? So I know.
So our first one's on Monday. We have, there's 5 schools, but Blake has 3, so 8. First one starts on Monday, and then the last one is September 26th, I think. So there's like 2 each week, basically.
So you're pretty well done before we get Medfield done.
Yeah.
So we can still do the 200
You know what I'm.
each,
We
get
could
them
have
to you,
and
and then
And then we might need
if
to
we're
run
saying,
another.
oh, we need more, I'll have time to get more.
Okay.
So I'll get the 200 now.
Can you have them by Monday?
We're sitting,
We're-
yeah, I
we're-
think so. Well, we gotta
I mean,
get the thumbs up on this one, right?
Right, if you guys
Well,
approve
Monday's
this
only-
one with edits,
Monday's
we can print it tomorrow.
How much? And then Memorial, I think, is the big one that's gonna be on Wednesday.
We're just gonna give you, do you want Mike stories too, or do you just want the Medfield Day one?
I'd like to focus, I think, just on the FAQ that we have
Okay.
from the SBC and not get to that point in the voting yet, especially because there's just there's a lot of new families that have come in, the survey data itself showed there was a lot of new stuff, and then the school committee as a whole, we're each gonna be there on different nights, so I just kinda wanna make sure everyone has kind of a high level information on what they can be talking about between district initiatives as well as the school projects. All right.
Although a lot of our questions regarding the town meeting came up from
Parent ones and
the one we had at the second floor of town hall, and it was mostly the younger parents.
Okay. I'm happy to share this document with them again, though I don't know if having a bunch of different documents competing again with, we'll have MCPE there and CPAC and PTO, like, I wanted to try to keep it simple and more just be there in the, Blake's a little bit more they're sitting down and the open houses are a little bit more running through for the other schools, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we have, I just wanna make sure we still put them in there. Yeah, we have a short answer to the voting question anyhow,
Okay.
and in the handout.
That's part of the FAQ, right?
Right, and then it says, please see our additional handout. So you can just say to them, also at the booth, if you want more about this, there's another
More detail on
whole handout by the moderator.
Okay.
So there is something about it.
Okay.
It's just short, but again, like, so we didn't think of that. Alright, so, if we finish this tonight, can you run
I'll go tomorrow.
200 and then just say,
And then what I'll do is, do you want me to leave the Met Central office?
Oh yeah, that works.
Does that work? So I'll get it up over to that first one.
Okay.
How many?
What do you think?
Well, if you're gonna have a lot of
Folks there.
Most parents attend, I mean, I don't know, it's mobbed. It's just a matter of how many people are gonna stop by is the
Oh,
question. Like, there's
well, you've got one on Monday, right? And
Correct.
when's the next one?
Wednesday.
All right, so
And once
if you
it's
run
8th
out
grade and Memorial, so I feel like
on
that's a good
Monday,
sense
I'll
of-
just get more for Wednesday.
Okay.
How about we do it that way, keep it to 200?
We do a QR code as a backup.
Yeah, I can probably create that. I'll just have it at the tables, yeah.
there's a QR code on the handout. It was on last year's banner and last year's handout, and Brittany's taking a few days off. Frank and I are trying to figure out how to make it work again because it stopped working.
Okay.
So he's.
The QR code went to the
It
website?
went to the town website so that people would, look at it.
Okay.
I just don't know why it stopped, and I said to Frank, I don't know why it stopped, and I don't even know where she got the code, but Brittany Flynn did it, so he's looking into that.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll be able to get that fixed, but
If not, we're all going to the hospital tomorrow, so we'll find out.
Or we can, I mean, on the banner at least, we can create a new one and just take it over. Okay.
yeah, so if we have to, and if it doesn't work, it's on the handout at the moment, so if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but.
Leo, do you have anything to add for the open houses?
I'll just be as many as I can.
I think you might be Mondays, I know I haven't sent the thing yet, but.
Yeah, I'll be at the early ones for sure.
Right.
I think I sent them right over.
Oh, you did?
I'm not sure. That's why I texted you.
Okay. Okay, we can talk later, I think I have it Monday. Anyway, so both of us will probably be at the ones next week, so we can give feedback to the group.
Well, that'll be great, because that is great.
Alright, thank you, and then the only other thing I'd say, if you haven't seen the Google Doc, I apologize I can't be with it, please, if you could be there for an hour, even, that'd be great. Even like last year, I think I helped set up and left, and then I came back and helped take down.
Yes.
Cause I was like, whatever I was doing with my kids, it was like, I missed all the rain, it stopped, and then I came back. It was on purpose, but,
No, but setup takes a bit, and it
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't start till 10. I swear it used to start at 9.
yeah, no, it's 10 o'clock.
So it's now 10 to 4. We're gonna have to type it on there actually. 10 to 4. So I put 9.
Yeah.
He's gonna get the tarp off in the booth and lay everything
Got all the
out.
stuff in there for the shots.
Right.
Thank you.
So that's the big thing, and then the tape.
And you got my email, right? That I'll be there, I just have to all the time.
Yeah, I didn't put your name in though. I was just letting people.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I'll
you
put
just
it in
wanna
one
open it
second.
up, put your name in. And you have an SBC board group? Yeah. Christine, can you make sure that John has an SBC for that account? Yeah. Can we talk about one? Talk about that? Yeah. Talk about that one. Okay, thanks.
Sorry, John, you're missing our emails.
Well, he was on top of it and emailed me, so I was sending it out to his email, which I can do, it's just that he
Should be,
on the group.
It'd be easier to send one email and
Yeah.
call it a day.
So the other piece for Medfield Day is the handout. You wanna look at that now?
Sure.
So the, communications subcommittee, we talked about the questions and edited and decided we wanted it to just be one page, front and back, which it is. So I'm hoping everyone had a chance to look it over. Do you wanna,
I think, are you on the Zoom?
No.
Are you on the Zoom?
I'm on the Zoom,
Or Leo is.
but I'm not.
I'll make you an admin, don't worry.
am I
You wanna send me
You
the?
should be able to.
As a panelist, you should be able to share.
I set it up, wait, sure. It's sounds like I can share, I just have to go back here.
Alright, you are added.
Alright, I'm gonna share my screen.
Great.
Okay. So, the questions, as I said before, came from the forums and from comments that people said, and things we might have talked about that people brought up, you know, because the other, 10 frequent questions were made a year ago, so there's the banner, there's the QR code that doesn't work, there's an intro sentence, and the first thing we put is that we chose a location. Should I, do you want me to read it?
No, I think this is fine. You already sent it. Right.
Did
Maybe
anyone-
we'll just go through each question. If anyone had any comments about each one, we'll do that.
Anyone had a comment on the first explanation for that question?
I had none. I think, I should think that the whole thing was pretty well written.
I agree, that was really well done.
We looked at it. Teamwork. Okay, so that's the first question.
The only because it's a handout, the town website, the links don't work.
No, we
You
are
know what I
gonna
mean?
post it though on
Yep.
on the town website page.
Yeah.
We can post it before. At the moment, we're trying to get people to look at the survey data, so that's like front and center.
Yeah.
We can post it after we approve it, or I can wait and I'll post it the week after Medfield Day at our first meeting.
Either way is fine. You guys all put a lot of work into this, so I think it should go up there. And I think it looks good. That's the only thing. So the town website's easy enough. I mean, people should be able to find Medfield.
If anyone's great with Facebook, if you have that Facebook account, but something like this, this doesn't seem to work very well on Facebook, I find. I actually had to tell people on Facebook to go to the town website to see the survey data. I couldn't get the links on the Facebook
I have no idea.
to work this time.
I can look with you, we can talk tomorrow about it, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a link, it should be okay to get in there.
So before I've had other links work, but for some reason these three that we have, survey data, survey summary, and comments, just wouldn't. So I gave up and just said, please see your town website for that link. And I said what's on it, but it's not a link in the Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, and the next is the big question that people keep mentioning. Did the prior school building proposal of fall 2021 are determined the site location? And so right away was no. And then explain that it did, the proposal failed, but there were many reasons that people told us. And that what we're trying to do is take each reason, people said no, and try to get it up.
Yeah, well written again. This came up, I think Michelle brought this up again. This is the response for the hospital.
Yeah, so I put in a couple of links if people want to know what Belmore was or look at the Maytown meeting. People ask about it a lot. They see it as open land, especially in the right of the Corn at that time. We had this last year, and then we just sort of edited an upgrade of it about the MSBA, and we had the nice info sheet that kept it.
I would just make a suggestion, just to consider.
Yep.
I was reading it, I was wondering if you want to put in there something like, in 2015, Medfield had a successful partnership with MSBA when it assisted in the design, purchase, and installation of the new boiler at New Rock School. I don't know if it means a lot, but only just shows that we have worked with MSBA before, it's been a positive experience, the town approved it, so it's not this nebulous thing, we've actually done it before. So I just throw it out there as a
That's actually a good thing because we've had a lot of people thinking that MSBA you mind, since you will have some, could you send that to me?
Sure.
Just like a blurb in an email, we can add it to this.
Yep.
And I will add it.
So the only comment I had on this one here is they could do a nice job of eligible expenses. We've gone through that before. Possibly result. So the possibly is a good word to use again. On a 90 minute, like, I just want to reiterate, we don't know what the cost is going to be yet, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be a Redo or a Blue School, like, so maybe we put in an example would be $100 million school. I don't know how to.
Would you just use percentages?
Yeah, or percentages. Like they would be responsible. MSBA could cover. What is that?
It's like 15.
Call it 23 to 28, whatever range the warrant committee Stephen put together. It was less than 39 and more than 20. So I forget exactly, but I'm just.
So, happy?
I mean, we do have a nice, awesome. I think Steve did an excellent job detailing ongoing school projects, looking at current sizes of schools at 2 or 3 grades, elementary schools. Like, we have good data on what other schools cost. Again, that's last year or the year before. I'm just still hesitant to say what it would cost.
I think what you're saying is just, we'll change it from Medfield, our reimbursement for eligible, since we possibly result in 20 to 30% of whatever that cost is, and then take out any dollar amounts.
Yeah.
Altogether, thus the town would still be responsible for 67 million, because we don't know what we're responsible for until we know what we're
Yeah, I mean,
so
maybe we vote to have a larger gym or.
If I put total cost, is that on? Is it just,
well, it's
Of total,
is it 20 to 30%?
it's eligible expenses. So, that's roughly correct. That's okay.
Our reimbursement,
Does it town
the cost result in
responsible?
20 to 30% of the eligible expenses.
I think cost is fine there. That makes sense.
No, because it's not.
I would
20
do
to
that.
30
I
is
just leave it like it
eligible.
had it.
Yeah, you had
This
the
is
total
eligible,
cost.
then it starts a whole new round of questions. Just
It
the
does.
total cost.
Okay.
The eligible expenses in the first one is totally fair and correct. Yeah, total cost. Let the town be responsible for maybe
So I'll take the next
70,
sentence out.
or
Take
70
the
to
sentence
70
out.
to 80%.
Oh, take out money, I can take both sentences out.
I just take
Yeah,
Just take both
Let's just take the whole
sentences out.
sentence out, because at the moment I'm gonna need,
You're gonna need room.
we need room. We
Right.
worked very hard to get it on 2 pages,
Right.
I'm gonna need
You
this
did a
long.
great job.
Okay.
Something's gonna go.
Because I wanna put Jeff's line in.
I mean, maybe it's less expensive. I mean, we don't know exactly. But I don't think so.
That's for that for the year.
Okay. All right, we get a lot of questions that people have this thing about MSBA telling you everything you need to do, and that's actually not true. So does the MSBA require towns to build a school of particular design? No. And then it has numerous suggestions to help with it in design of quality elementary school, and we put down about the 900 square feet inside and 2 sinks. Though Chris Potts was at our communication subcommittee meeting, and she's always very good at details, and she looked up the regs under MSBA, and at times for old schools, they have allowed less than 900 square feet.
For old schools?
Yeah. If you build new, it's 900. If you're rehabbing a building, you're doing a renovation, sometimes, not always, so it's not, I think it's like being negotiated. So,
I think how you have it written for this purposes is fine.
yeah, I think it's fine, but I just want to be
I think that's good
clear that-
information generally.
Yeah, for us to know as we're moving along, because I think you have to be close to the 900, you can't like have 500 square feet, they're not gonna allow that. And then other thing to do, so, when we here, December 2024, just said again, we didn't make 2023. What happens if we don't get accepted? Everybody okay with that answer? We look on that a lot, the ending part where it says the SBC will immediately need to evaluate next steps, including engaging the town in the possibility of self-funding a building project.
I think that's really well said.
Perfect.
This is a question that came up a lot, and it was a big discussion in Forum 2, why not build new park and rec and build a new school. There were 12 comments that we should be doing both. In the recent survey, there were 2 comments, if you don't use Dale, it should be park and rec. And we talked about what our role is in that, and we've shared that with the select board. And the select board has been talking with park and rec about their needs, just in case anyone hasn't been at those meetings, they've had some discussions about a facility for park and rec. So we ended with the select board has discussed the need for an updated park and rec facility. This was accurate, what?
So, why are we putting that? I'm just wondering if you look for why is it on the sheet?
Because we took questions that came up in the comments a lot, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, 12 people mentioned you should be doing park and rec when you do a school, but Forum 2, there's a lot of discussion about we should be doing park and rec in the school.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those underlying currents that comes up a lot, like we should just be doing it all together, it should all be together, and then I think this is an appropriate place to put this because it's been out there so much.
And now that the select board is sort of talking about it, it'll come back to us.
Yeah, I mean, Gus brought it up to us, one of the forums, I believe it was, you know, I think it's a great idea personally. I don't think we can do that in this group, right? You know, that said, just like doesn't matter for this, but you know, if MSBA says no, you know, the select board can have some decisions to make on that. If you need space though, if you get Jeff's comments and you need space, the last line, the select board has discussed the need, and you can just take that.
I could take that one out.
Yeah, I'd leave it, but if you need space, that's
Yeah, okay. And then this is our short answer one to Mike's question. And the first part just explains how you pass a building project, the little first couple sentences. And then we just say that the town meeting process is Massachusetts law, and so for additional information, we have a separate handout.
So Christine used 2 great words in describing that whole process. The first vote is to allocate, and then
Your first vote is to approve the appropriation and authorize the treasurer to borrow for a new elementary school.
so I'm just wondering if instead of saying vote yes, it's like why do you vote yes? You vote yes to authorize, and then the second vote is at the ballot.
Authorize.
Is to borrow.
Is to borrow.
Borrow.
So you're approving the appropriation and authorizing the treasurer to borrow. The ballot question is authorizing the borrow.
The most one is to authorize the treasurer.
Yeah, and I can send you the link. This is all on the special 2021 town meeting website.
I'm just trying to, I was wondering if I could just short. Authorize the treasurer to
borrow.
Borrow funds, maybe.
Borrow funds, and I was put it there. In part 2, there must be a ballot vote open all day,
So the first part is, so the question at town meeting is to approve the appropriation.
I'm concerned that people aren't gonna,
Yeah,
I know
think
this is like, it's
Too
very
detailed.
literal, but I feel like people aren't gonna understand what that meetings.
The vote at town meeting, if you are voting to build a new school, the vote at the ballot is to
Approve the amount of money, yeah.
Well, you have to be careful because the ballot question, you're actually not allowed by state law to put the amount of money you're borrowing. Because you don't know what the total cost of the project is until after you find out you're getting it.
I think just leaving it right now that there's two parts to this, so people understand that there's two
Yeah.
parts will be the information we wanna get across to people in this document. I think the questions on what they're doing, we
Yeah.
can address next time.
Yeah, the school vote is difficult enough. Bringing in municipal finance is really,
The first vote is for the town to approve this project and the allocation. The second vote is to meet a state
borrow
requirement
the money.
to borrow the money that the proposition would have. So,
Maybe that's all right. I'm thinking let's
I think this is simple. The simple the
Let's
better.
keep it simple here, but we need to know that in case people ask why are there two, and maybe at a later point, for the next handout, we'll go more in detail when we actually have a proposal. How about that?
I think once we select a site, people are gonna get a lot more.
Yeah.
Interested.
That's one.
Dummy worked on the costs, we just basically said about the board committee and go to the link. And then this last one we had last time, how do we communicate our findings? So just explain the kind of things that we are doing.
Well done, guys.
So people are okay with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so we will be printing those out and getting those to,
You're just gonna add one line from Jeff.
yeah, when, just,
Thank you.
oh, thank you. We're meeting after yours, so I'll put that line in,
Perfect.
and then we'll put that. Okay, let me stop sharing.
And I assume I have a line item here in our agenda for sub-communications update. That's pretty much it. Right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You guys do it a lot. Thank you again. Seriously. All right, we threatened a vote for next meeting on site selection. Let's have some discussion around that. I'll start the discussion by saying how much of a miss the last SBC had on, we use surveys very similarly to this group, although I feel like we're getting more respondents this time. I don't remember 1,100 responses on a survey in 2018.
1,045.
Yeah,
Around there.
I said 1,100, yeah, so I'm pretty sure we didn't get that number last time. I'd also say that the discussion, we've already had multiple discussions on site selection, but the discussions we had last time weren't over several months. They weren't that I voted for the school relock, so I'm not saying like I didn't sort of think it was at that time the right decision. I mean, the right option for, in my view, only. Obviously not by the towns, or not to 2/3 of the town. But one of the surveys that was sent out preliminarily in the last SBC there was a question on site selection. Jerry, you could probably tell me what the percentages were, but the percentages were weighed towards Dale at that time. That said, the group still chose another site, and that's fine, because here we are, we're still pursuing it. But regardless, personally, I'm taking a couple of surveys where we had pretty darn good responses, much more seriously in my eyes as far as sites. So that's where I'll start the discussion. Just respondents was pretty overwhelming. On a site that 1,100 people or 1,045 people wanted. But I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts on the matter. I mean, we can go over pros and cons. I think that's important to do. Yeah.
The only thing I want wonder, you know, we can select one, does it impact MSBA feasibility study, whether they want us to survey all sites, that's all.
No, if we select a site, it's our choice where to do that, so it would actually limit the feasibility study to a single site, and both sites, if I remember correctly, there was a lot of stuff done already, so I'm really hoping there's some reuse. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's clear what the public wants. I think if we do anything different, we're gonna have another no vote. So I mean, like, to me, my personal opinion is almost irrelevant because I'm here supposed to representing what the people of the town are telling us and discussing that. So for me, I think the school is just, no offense, Steve, desperately needs to be changed, improved, for the staff, for the children, for the future children. So to me, we could sit here and all decide a different location of what the 12 of us think is better. Let's say we all want it on, I don't know, Pine Street, but it's not gonna go through. And I just think we're past the point of we're in a really dicey situation at this point for what kids show us what they need today. And whether it's a reno or, however we go about that, but I think we all want at the end of the day to see that we've actually helped the town create a new school.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The infrastructure's already there, the school's actually already there, so the neighborhood's used to having that school. I think the big concern people had is if the school were built at Wheelock, what was gonna happen to the rail school? It really wasn't clear. And it's a valid question. And we got this school, abandoned school in the center of town. It's got theoretically historical value. Is it just going to deteriorate? So, I concur with Mike and
Thoughts, opinions?
Nothing different.
So, what about, I'll give you some negatives for Dale, because I feel like that's all kind of, that's clearly what 85+% of the respondents asked for. But generally speaking, there were some very strong opinions at a couple of the forums on a couple of years of trailers or modulars. And I'm not saying that we necessarily need those either. Things can be done in phases. More than likely, there'll still be some modulars, quite frankly, because there is space behind the school to build a new one and tear down the front. There's ways that we can mitigate that. But that was one very strong opinion I heard against Dale Street. Not one, but multiple people said that. Feelings on that?
Build a new one next to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Walpole Middle School was behind the Bird Middle School, and they just tore it down, right? I think they were almost touching each other.
Same thing in Westwood. Westwood, what we're doing in
High
Canton.
school's going on right now. And middle school right is going on right now. Yeah. So that's again, space requirements, all that things. There's a big field there, I know that. Being field neutral was important in the last go around. That may have to be figured out afterwards the field's taken up. So just Candace was saying, I'm just trying to go, play devil's advocate here.
For people that are concerned about modulars, that they could just be reminded that there are currently modulars, right? I mean, the cost of modulars is high, right? And we've seen that. I think that there's a high cost associated with renting those modulars, but I think it could be limited if you do it in phases and just open up some modulars.
Or buy them from, I think it was Chris Potts who had an idea about used ones that you know,
Yeah, I
another
think it's a
town
hard
that uses them
argument.
for 2 years.
It's
You know
not-
what I mean? Like
They're not that bad.
there's ways that can be mitigated cost wise, right?
Yep.
We wouldn't want to put children and teachers and staff in modulars that are crap. You know what I mean? It would have to be like the best we can get, in my opinion, because
We've done school projects with modulars, and the modulars, I don't know, they're much better than they were 20 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not an office trailer.
Huh?
It's not an office trailer.
It's not an office trailer, no, these,
Yeah.
they're high tech, they're clean,
Yeah, each
plenty of light, I mean, they're not inexpensive, but we use them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't use them, but the schools.
Sure. What else? What are the other arguments against it? And this is again, add reno or new. Like that's down the road. I just want to hear them all. It's not a greenfield site, but we know the schools there, like you said. Traffic isn't really a concern, right? Because we already know what traffic's like there. Okay.
I think some of the neighbors to the Dale Street School might discuss things such as sidewalks extended, the width of the road, when you can't move from point A to point B, where the cruiser and the ambulance might fit, but the ladder truck may or may not make it.
Yep.
So I think, there's going to have to be some mitigation to assist the neighborhood in accepting what's going to sit there for another 80, 90 years. And I think that has to be taken into consideration. I think we might eat up a little bit of the field also, dealing with Dale Street and the sidewalk. It may come into the current field. And I know there's discussion about a sidewalk going further down Dale Street, perhaps, because I know that's a current topic. And then the other thing I'll toss out there, and this is just from my history head, when you were looking at the feasibility study over there, did the amount of groundwater under the field come up, and was it possible to put would a building go there okay?
All the water table is high.
Yes.
It's higher than.
You can build on.
It was higher than Wheelock, even though we're right near.
That's not a problem.
That's all I remember.
Yeah, I don't.
Parking was also an issue, was a conversation.
Yeah, parking was certainly an issue, but it's a fair point. They built there however many years ago, 85 now. I'm sure that we can measure the water. We're building in the seaport right now, 100 floors down, 100 feet down, but they're able to mitigate that. Maybe a little bit more cost, right?
Right,
Sure.
and that's we're bringing up the negatives.
Yeah.
And I think you might find that there may be a stream contained in a structure under the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's.
Because that was a big mud bowl when the high school played football there in the 60s. Between the mud and the rocks, it was fascinating.
It's a fun too.
So, just bringing up negatives. That's,
No, that's exactly what I want to hear, right?
but
Because
as you said, Tony, you can deal with that.
Yeah, and a lot of these items that you brought up, I mean, no matter where you build a new school, there's always going to be concerns from neighbors about traffic and access and sidewalks. If Wheelock, we heard the same, right? People around the Wheelock area, that neighborhood, they were concerned about the amount of traffic.
I think the traffic concern actually, even if there was a real concern for Dale Street, you can actually mitigate it with better, bus routing and things of that nature. So, generally speaking, I actually think it would improve with the new school in that location. Just how you lay out the whole site, right? We saw one possibility with a new road coming from that almost like behind Memorial where that parking lot is. You know what I mean? Yeah, like
Goes to the back of the
there's
property.
like a lot of options for that.
It was an option to eliminate one. Right now, our buses stop at all three schools. Even Dale Street and Village, right to Memorial, all the same kids run the class. There was a design that turned it into one style. Pulled in on Adam Street, they let them all out, and went two different directions. Those were the options.
So a negative would be, and I think that it makes me think of it when you talk about the parking, is losing the field.
That's a real negative.
Because that makes me need to make the parking good, ample and big and off the road and.
Is there anyone thought about putting parking underneath?
Super expensive.
I think it was joked about.
Super expensive, especially because the water flows.
I think if we settle on Dale and it's Dale, I think then Park and Rec really does need to get a great low, because to me that's a lot in one small space. Like
And that
it
stands
doesn't.
Well, though, like if you're thinking about building at Dale, like how much are we limiting Memorial from future options when it gets to that point that something needs to be done there, right? And that's another school that consistently kind of like not busting at the seams the same way Dale is, but struggling with the space. So.
Memorial?
Okay, that's a fair point. I actually didn't think of that at all, nor did I realize they were struggling with space.
Isn't it, I might be wrong about this, aren't new schools basically on slabs now, they're not making basements, and they seem to be more on, like, instead of going down.
Depends on the town and the site.
Okay.
It's really site driven, I would say. Yeah, I know.
Used to be like
Fair
the new
enough.
ones I've been in all have utilities on the ground level, you know, instead of going down the big. Yeah, that's yeah, yours is.
Mine was already on slab. But,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was definitely a cheaper construction method.
Yeah, I mean, I would say slab on grade is much less expensive. You can put utilities underground. It's easier to get A to B on the ground and kind of straight lines as opposed to through ceilings. But generally speaking,
more real estate.
I think
Yeah.
I think that discussion is very worthy when we get there. I'm really more concerned about limiting future expansion of Memorial now. If it's Wheelock, doesn't limit the Wheelock school expansion too. Like, you know what I mean? They could probably be said in both cases. I don't know. We did have all of the design stuff can be figured out. You know, we looked at school that we voted on and lost. Did have kind of an area where it could be an addition could be put on for 2 stories, if I remember correctly, and it was like maybe 6 or 8 classrooms or something like that. So like things of that nature, as far as, you know, we need to think ahead and do things like that. But so maybe there's some provisions of what does Memorial maybe look like in the future when we get to that stage. But this group, I'm really looking for like what if people who strongly feel that Dale isn't a good spot, which doesn't appear that many because the survey says that. I'm just trying to generate this conversation so that people know that we've had it. Like what else have we heard?
Well, the first thing you mentioned actually has been the biggest one. It's the people who are just very worried about kids being disrupted in their education. Very disrupted. That there are people who prefer Wheelock but don't dislike the Dale location. But then the big thing is, you know, and as parents obviously with young kids, they don't want their education for their kids disrupted. So that whole thing about how you do it is going to be a big thing if you go there.
I think then the Park and Rec is certainly they're going to put a brand new school or renovation, whatever it is, either there or behind Dale Street. Like, I mean, that's really, I'm glad the select board is talking about it. Like that may come up as well, so just be prepared. Like that's something that says we should do at the same time, whatever it may be. But I'm pretty sure our bylaw is very strict on this. All right.
So I think this isn't about the site, but it's just about, as we think about cost and being prepared for the public, the school building project is such a huge investment, but I think we need to also be prepared to talk about the other investments that are still needed, that are capital investments around, whether it's Wheelock, or whether it's Memorial, you know, what are those other large expenses that we still need to be planning for, in addition to, the people need to know. I think as a taxpayer. So, okay, I just spent this money on this big project, now I need to go, now you're telling me I need to go spend this money on XYZ. So, as we prepare communications, I think we need to be.
I think,
What those other things are.
our old group would have said that's not our charter, we're just gonna plow forward, but I think it's a brilliant thing to at least talk to the town about it. Meaning the town administration, not the town people, and just say, hey, look, as an FYI, these are other projects that are, you know, there was, I actually read, I'm the one person who read most of that 1,300 page, like, town report of what's coming, and I think it was done in, it was well done, it was done in 15 or 16 years before COVID or something like that. And you know, Dale Street was one of them, Park and Rec was one of them. They had like the beautification of this area behind us, around there's some really good stuff in it, but I mean, I think we can just point to that because the work has been done for a lot of that, what's next meeting in town. So I can pull that up. Those are real expenses, and that's very similar to what Tony brought up earlier with we're going to abandon this, however many square foot the school is, 75,000 square foot building in the middle of town, then what? But we should at least be cognizant of the fact that there are other things coming. Maybe we don't know the timing, we don't know the costs, but yes, we understand it. And just throw it out there. And if those are so important, but what I really don't want to do is make them the highlight because this is the greatest need in my opinion. That's why I'm here, you know. So,
Right, I know it's a big thing.
no, but I also agree.
Taxpayers, I think, that there's not more, then we have to put into other schools as well, to keep a holistic, strong school system. Exactly.
Yeah, well, none of our
It's
buildings
not
are
getting any younger, you
Yeah,
know,
none of
so
our
what
buildings
is
are.
what's the long-term plan, we're gonna address Dale Street, and it's 10 years, we gotta be going through this process for Wheelock, like, what's that vision? That's what I'm.
Do we have any questions in the chat? Go ahead, Jared.
I checked today, there's still nothing.
We got one behind us, please.
You can go on the chat if you want. I just wanted to say, I think you all have done a phenomenal job in the extensive amount of listening, of outreach that you've done, open dialogue about the pros and cons, and I think you're going to find that 85 to 90% of this town is going to get behind this project. I can guarantee you, everyone that I talked to on the no side during the process wanted to be behind the school. No one didn't want to get this done. And the process that you've gone to, yes, it's taken some time, but I think you're going to get an amazing amount of coming together. And I appreciate very much how much thought has gone into this, because I know there's strong opinions still behind Wheelock, and I respect why people have those feelings, but the bigger thing is how do we get to 85–90% of the town being enthusiastic, like they did when we voted for Trinity. Everyone thought that was going to be some big bloodbath, and one person raised their hand and the town got behind it because it was good for the town. So the work you're doing is appreciated. The sooner we can get it done, I know there are people who want to help. So Park and Rec has had 2 meetings where they've talked about jumping on board, and they, so I know that they are trying to get that moving. I think the only thing that I would just suggest, all the discussions we're having about the best Dale Street site, now that if we can coalesce behind that's the location, we can get some great minds and great companies and great consultants to come in and find a way to mitigate some of these things. I had opinion on swing space. I know a lot of people don't like that, but we're still 600–700 people, students under our maximum capacity. Maybe we don't have to disrupt, moving people, putting them in modulars. So if we can think creatively and openly and listen to all the different ideas, I think we have the opportunity to build a great
great school. Whether MSBA comes in or not, I think this town wants the school, and you've done a great job. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in the fact that we have a large swath of land, Dale Street's our site, that we can get. I mean, I'm not overly concerned with that. I've seen some really, really cool, awesome buildings and some super narrow spaces. You know, I know this is what you do, right? I mean, we have a lot of space. So I think being creative that'll be the fun part, actually. All right, anything else? Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is just, actually, have we heard or any questions come in from the MSBA over all this or anything? And I guess I'm wondering, because of the positive outreach from our surveys, do we want to proactively get something over to the MSBA to say, hey, this is.
Did that today.
Oh, you did?
today.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I was just kind
We
of.
got a response right away from them thanking us and adding it to the Medfield folder file on the project.
Perfect, thank you.
And it was exactly that in regards to percentages of email responses and like how many people we got to respond, number of meetings we've had. You know, it was pretty well done. So yeah, thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. We're trying hard. Like this is, I'm a very impatient person, and this is since I really like the group, and I'm very optimistic as well. I just I always want to move, but I think we're doing it the right way. Yes, Scott.
Oh my God, I was going to talk this. I'm coming to the end of my 6-month self-imposed moratorium between being a moderator and being a community activist, but it's coming to the end here at the end of September. But I also want to thank you. I've watched every one of your meetings on YouTube, and particularly the last meeting. You know, I am more optimistic than I have been. You know, since this process, you know, evolved because of all the work you're doing. I think we are at a really important juncture, you know, and so from 25 experience and years looking back, you know, the issue of how much public input, enough public input, all of that. I remember on another project where before we had all the capabilities we had, Zoom and everything, you know, there were a lot of public meetings, but people still at the end of it complained that they didn't have the, so my only recommendation is right now it's like we have to do everything to over communicate, to over promote, to promote. The tour is awesome, I think, and whoever wants to go on one, the opportunity to be able to do that is great. What you're doing at Medfield Day is a great outreach. You give people the opportunity to be able to do that. To what Jeff and the school can do, you know, hometown weekend. I'm happy to write an article and tell people now is the time to come forward, you know, and you know, this is approaching as you guys decide when it is that you're going to make a decision about site selection, because I think it's the really big decision to be made. Because
first Wednesday of October.
Okay, well that's soon, and so to do what I'm talking about doing, that's in a couple of weeks right after. So you may think about doing this in 2 steps, you know, to have that opportunity, but you know, there's all these, and some posting on Concerned Citizen, your own Facebook page, Patch, the town website. Obviously, I should have started with that, but you know, the feature to do that, Pete's blog, Insider. Clearly, these are the ways that we can reach people, and just to say that this is the moment, right? This is the time. If you've been interested and you've been following this issue over the past several years, now is the time to. And you as a committee have been very open. You know, people can reach out to you as a committee. They can reach out to you individually, but you know, this is it, and so that it won't completely relieve the fact that, you know, later there will be people, but you know, you just really want to at this stage, if it's you know, I think Chief, you and I have talked about this a little bit. The other reach out to the people in this neighborhood, you know, as neighbors and friends would be something. You know, if you walk the street, I counted the 16 houses that kind of go by here, not counting others that are on the other side. But it's a group of our neighbors, and with the right mitigation, I totally agree with what everybody's saying. Some really good planning. You know, it could be a really better environment on the street. I'm not too worried about the field mitigation. I just mentioned to Jeff, I know that can be addressed. So, keep up the good work, but, between this month, the next, or whenever it is that the vote is gonna occur, I think it's really important for us to all, in town who are interested in this project and the success of the project, to really over-promote and over-communicate, and in whatever ways the communication committee's done a great job. The survey was excellent, and other things that we're doing. Chris has, been there on the insider. Let's just get. I don't see what's going on in the schools anymore, but sure that's all good. So that's my only process note in this, as we're at this point in time.
Scott, you raised a great point about the neighbors, and sometimes you like to be, even though we say it's an open invitation, come join us, come be here. I actually wonder for October if we should mail a letter to our butters, just to say, hey, personal invitation.
I'd be happy if whatever we create, I can just put them, you can just walk and put them in all the mailboxes within a radius. Kind of like when somebody wants to change their property and it's like your neighbor wants to add, there's a hearing. Same concept. It's just nice.
Just kind of a personal invitation, not a formal legal notice or anything like that.
Just like,
you want to do that before we're voting at the meeting or after?
Before.
I would say before. Let's invite them to come.
Bob had a really good question about that meeting, right?
Yes.
Second.
This is my ignorance of religious holidays. Rosh Hashanah is the next day. Is there any part of that that starts at sundown the prior day? And I'm expressing my ignorance, I don't know.
No,
But I don't want to offend anyone by having a meeting during a time when it might be, insensitive to some folks.
So
But that's from an Irish Catholic kid. I just don't know.
Starts at sundown October 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't do it all.
So that's what I was thinking. It might not be the best idea.
What do you guys think about October 9th? A week later.
It's better for me.
Well, that could give us some time, because one of the things Bill Kingsbury and I do in this building is we did do an invitation to all the abutters way around, and we had a tour and a meeting specifically for them to come and ask questions of what we thought it was going to look like. And we had several folks come over. But I think the fact that we did it was very important.
so move to the 9th.
Is that the vote? My sense of the town is that you should do it in 2 steps. That you should have a meeting where you invite the abutters, that you let the town know, that you give an opportunity here now one more time, in person, and that I'm not trying to make you meet twice in October, but if you set the date of time, we are trying to advance this, but unless there's something I don't know that makes that material.
Yeah, the only thing I would to rebut that would be that we've kind of been putting it off as we've gone. Like all summer we've kind of been hesitating about having the discussion. We haven't gone as far as inviting the abutters though. So
Look, I watched the
kind of
August meeting, and that was the first time I felt like you were really ready to start to make a site decision. And so now, if that's the case, I don't know, because I'm definitely not expert, but on the other decision, on the renovate or you almost came to a decision last time, right? When you looked at the question of the displacement and the cost, from what I heard, it's going to make it very difficult to do a renovation in some respects.
Could we do the October 9th meeting at Dale if we're inviting neighbors of Dale? Like bring them into the school so they're in the conditions?
The other problem with that is that it's hard to
It's not that important,
this
but
room is
electronically.
a big
we can still meet in the. Look, I'm happy to take any suggestions. Like no one's the difference between us voting on October 9th or November 6th is immaterial.
Well, one of our
frankly.
tours
Right.
is on the 8th. We could see if the butters wanted to come to the tour on the 8th and then come to our meeting on the 9th if they had anything else they wanted to share. And that would be a way for them to see Dale.
Or either one of those 2 meetings, 2 tour dates.
Yeah.
Either one.
They can't make you vote before the 12th.
So,
What of that, right? The day before? Okay.
We could also see who comes on the 9th, see where we're at, and if we don't feel like we can vote that day, we can then vote in November if we feel like we need a little more time.
See the feedback we get in that
Yeah.
field, right?
And the open houses, when you're handing out, people talk to you and give you their opinion, and
I think taking a little more time will not hurt us. We're not taking enough time, might.
and we're not gonna find out from MSBA till December anyways, so we're kind of.
So what was,
I guess
what was our next step?
so next step, October 9th meeting, we're moving it to the 9th. Everyone's pretty much good with that, yes? Dr. Shona, and it's,
Jeff, and see where you guys agree on the night.
he's got 3 copies of this.
I know.
In the next one, trial.
Yes.
They're all over that.
And then we'll plan to, and so everyone now, definitively, we're voting, unless anyone, again, comes up with a great suggestion, which is, I believe this is, November 6th will be the next meeting, the next Wednesday after that.
That's better. That's good.
And then, I'm happy to type an email, I'll send it to all of you guys as far as a neighbor's letter, and invite them to the meeting of the night.
Yeah.
I suggest to have it here only because I tell them about the tours on the 8th and the 16th also, but, come to the meeting. I will tell you the last time we had some Dale Street abutters come to our meetings, and they actually loved having the school there.
Yeah, I think last time 40 people wrote the select board in favor of it
Yeah.
in that area.
Yeah, it was.
But over communicating.
That's what we want, right?
Yeah,
That's
What,
yeah.
what are we here for, right? We waited
Yeah,
this
that's
long.
the
What's the
kind of
extra
thing
3
that
weeks?
We want to be able to support
I
this
just
going
want-
forward.
Well, I guess my question, Mike, is there anything, if we don't vote till November, is there anything in the plans on what we wanted to accomplish in October by getting that vote done? Was there anything around?
I know,
like
I think it was just
feasibility or-
none of that because we
Okay.
really have to wait until the SBA tells,
Okay.
Gives us a yay or nay.
As long as we're not delaying
Mhm.
anything, any other action.
In the back of my mind, I really want the vote done before MSBA gets back with the yes or no. So then that's off of our plate, we can move forward with or without. Pending, obviously, if it's without, obviously I think there's a larger discussion with the town. But, here we are, we're in school, and I think we need one no matter what, so that's just,
If I could just say one other thing, and respectfully, with the, thinking with the end in mind, there's gonna be a vote, we're gonna ask the town to vote on a 2/3 basis. And we wanna be able to say, that as we look back on this process, that we removed largely this question about, about public input at the critical time from the equation, because that's gonna be, if there's gonna be an obstruction or a barrier, or people are gonna have doubts, and so I think that you're making a good decision to, right now, because whenever that would be, a year or two, whenever that happens, you don't want people standing up at town meeting and say, I have an objection, and you have the opportunity to take all of that off the table.
So, just so I'm clear, so we're saying that at the October 9th meeting, we're inviting the abutters to that meeting. So, we'll hold.
why don't we have, I just think we should have it here, this space is great, the town is here, but we are gonna have,
It's easy too.
It's
They
in the
love
day.
it.
we are right there.
So, in order,
We'll have a lively discussion if it's kind of good. Seriously, I think that would be good.
so we're not meeting again before that meeting on the 9th.
Yep.
So, do you wanna discuss the exact plan for telling the abutters, like,
I thought, my suggestion only, happy to be rebutted, write a letter, drop it in my box.
okay, so you want the
I'll-
communications subcommittee to do
Can
that?
I offered to do it, but I'm happy, I was just gonna say, hey neighbors, we're voting on a school location, tell them a little bit, like,
Survey
Quick-
results were positive, we have a little wall.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like to take a crack at it, Carolyn, you're a better writer than I am. I promise you that.
Actually, I'd love it if you wanted to take a crack at it. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure we have a chance to meet, so I guess I'm just worried. I wanna give it to them ASAP, cause they have to put it on.
Christine, that's something I can send to the group and have them respond individually back to me with comments and suggestions, right?
And I'm happy to deliver them, so don't
Okay.
worry about that.
Yeah, he can. If we're
Take my
not-
dog
if
for a
we're
walk.
not-
Or do I have the authority?
Do you have the authority as the chair to speak on behalf of the group?
if you could-
Can I say, it should be an invitation instead of a notice, a letter.
Yeah.
Just as we
Invitation.
write, right, it's an invitation for that opportunity for respecting these folks, and then beyond that, it's everyone in the town to have the last opportunity to not the last, I don't like that, but come before you folks and be able to express personally their point of view.
Just get that.
Yeah,
And
do
send
that.
it from us.
that's fine.
And then move on.
We can take care of it.
And you can send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send it to me, the three of us can put eyes on it.
Christine,
Yeah.
cover your ears.
And then-
Yes, absolutely.
That's okay, there's only.
And then I'll deliver it.
Yeah.
So we're not putting it through the federal mail. It's just
Yeah.
All right.
me and my bike and my dog.
Look, if we drop 20 letters and we get 20 people to come and they all like are adamant that they can't go there, we need to have some serious discussion, right? Do I personally believe that'll happen? No, but let's give them the opportunity. I like that. idea.
Let's have some cookies that night too.
Okay.
I think you should ever have a butters meeting that night.
Mom's in town, I'll.
All right, so we'll bring snacks October 9th. We'll work on the letter.
Still need a permit for the snow cone.
We still can't have the snow cone machine?
Thank you, Robert.
Permit
I
free
have it.
cookies.
Just collecting dust.
How come we don't have cookies?
Mike's gonna squeeze in 100 chairs in
You
here.
have a budget.
Gonna make it
What
nice.
did I say?
We have a budget for
Oh,
cookies?
I sit all day.
I don't, I run around.
That would make me read anything.
Alright, so agenda for next meeting, we're gonna invite the abutters. We need to approve minutes. Discussion about site selection, we won't vote, but we can discuss whatever the discussion
We will
brings to
discuss
us.
Medfield Day.
And we'll discuss Medfield
And what
Day.
else came up at Medfield Day.
And we'll throw in a communication subcommittee line item.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll talk about Medfield Day along with everybody else who was there.
perfect.
Are we gonna have one, like, actual day where it's, some section open discussion on October 9th?
That'd be great,
We can do that.
even if it's just like
Well,
a
if we do
larger
that,
piece of
we
paper.
may want to consider another one.
I know,
If, I thought this is just gonna be the abutters, but if we're gonna be opening up to the town, this is probably not gonna be big enough. If we talk about site
Why don't we
selection-
absolutely have them? I mean, do we know what happens at Dale Street at this time on Wednesday nights?
Yeah.
Obviously, you do.
Probably nothing right now. A lot of times we can check with central office because they bring space through there, but
that's during basketball.
I mean, do we
practice.
just wanna limit it to the abutters?
Yeah.
That's my
Oh,
yeah,
just a-
sometimes it gets rented out. But I would say this time of year, the first couple weeks, not much going on extracurricular. Like,
So Tony asked, we want to limit it to the abutters, but I think that we personally invite them with the letter, but we open it for
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
then we should really
I don't think it's
consider
gonna
it.
get sworn.
So why don't we go to the Dale Street cafeteria? Sorry,
Yeah.
I think.
Bring people to wear.
Christine, do you mind just verifying if that's good with Steve and just let us know?
Just in case.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. If we actually get a bunch of people in here.
You're not a visitor anymore.
That's
Sorry.
fine. Yeah.
I
Started
had to take
September
you off. It was.
29th, whatever, we have it through October 10th.
All right,
That's 10 different.
Or you can just look.
Teresa, what do you got there? Let's do these questions. I gotta.
In keeping with Scott's comments, okay, this is from Chris Potts for the record. In keeping with Scott's comments, even though it's not required per by law, would you consider placing an ad in Hometown Weekly 2, public hearing on site selection? Does have to be official legal ad. love the abutter outreach.
Okay, thank you.
And then you just need to approve the.
I think more than anything, if we're gonna go just Uptown Weekly,
It's an invitation, we should like write a letter to the editor as an invitation. Or something
Yeah,
to
I mean-
add, don't you think?
Yeah, I would, a letter to the editor is an open invitation.
We've not been super successful with them taking our stuff, just gonna put that out there, but,
Me both.
yeah. So, Patch is, you send something to Patch and they will put it out there, and I can put it on the Facebook page and on the town website, but again, there's not a whole group of people obviously who aren't looking at those items, but.
when I get the letter to you, why don't we try to do that? A little bit thinking ahead, you know.
Okay,
You know what I mean? You can post it, the letter.
I can, yeah, to our two things, and we do Patch. I'll give it a bond, we'll do the Patch. I'm just telling the hometown we did, anyone who wants to try, please do, but we've had some difficulties with the stuff we tried.
The suggestion was for an ad, and I don't,
Yeah.
I think when we spend money, I think we spend it on like, the suggestion, I mean, one of us had, it wasn't me, in regards to like wheel on PR, like that's where our money should be spent if we need, when we have a vote coming.
I agree with everything Scott said, and I want to just keep this open and as many people as possible, but we did it 4 forums.
Yeah.
And a survey, all labeled site selection, so,
Yeah.
you know, so I just wanna make sure, one thing I think you just asked is now on Medfield Day, you want something there that invites people to the night.
Sure.
Right?
At
You
Dale
want a
Street.
little
Dale
sign?
Street, yeah.
Just write it down so I don't forget.
For the ninth agenda, do you think we need to start the meeting with a summary of the survey? I always go back, you know, just don't know where everybody's at in their education. You know, so do we need to start that meeting with a recap?
Sure.
of the
Yeah.
survey?
Yeah, maybe
That's
it's like
fine.
10 minutes, yeah, that makes sense.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, doesn't hurt.
And then go to-
In regards to recapping the surveys, the results real quick, both of them, this is basically,
And then go into feedback about Medfield Day and.
in the forums and all that good stuff.
And then
Perfect.
open discussion.
I like that. Good, everyone else, thank you for, coming and, your comments. Do I hear, anyone wanna get out of here? Anyone wanna
Motion
join the
to
meeting?
adjourn.
Alright, we have,
Second.
Tony seconded, yeah, you wanna start?
Yeah, we.
Teresa?
There?
Teresa
Oh,
Jane.
yes. Okay.
Carolyn, we're adjourning if you want
I'm
to,
sorry.
yeah.
Carolyn Casey, yes.
Bob Meany, yes?
Tony Papantonis, yes.
Meredith Chamberlain, yes.
Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Mike Webber, yes, thank you guys.